This is how my shot looks about 4:20 p.m. in winter with just a little bit of daylight coming in through the window. And this is with the LimoStudio LMS103 lighting kit. So, should you buy these lights? Maybe. I'm going to break it down. I'll go for price, performance, build quality, convenience, and then give my verdict. Price. I bought my LimoStudio LMS103 lighting kit for about $50 on Amazon. That's way less than a lot of the popular lights out, like from Elgato, the Key Light Air, the ring light. Those are all way more expensive. Some of the GVM lights are very expensive, over like $200. So on paper, this looks like a great deal, especially when you consider what comes with it. The LMS103 lighting kit comes with 3 stands, 2 large and 1 small, 2 umbrellas, and 3 light bulbs. They're supposed to mimic daylight color temperature around 6,500 kelvins. It also comes with some carrying bags for all your stuff, so that's like all really cool, but we have to address performance. These lights aren't that bright, as you can see. Now the camera I'm using is the Logitech Brio. I have this set to manual settings. It's at a -5 exposure. That's as bright as you can make it without it dropping frames. Also, the gain is set down to 0 because I didn't want to increase the grain by a lot. I just wanted to see exactly what it would look like with the gain at 0. The bulbs are listed at being 1820 lumens each, which is on paper brighter than the Elgato Key Light Airs that I have next to me. In reality, that number is really misleading because the light has to go through the umbrella. So by the time it gets to you, the result is a light that's just not that bright. Let me actually turn them around to see if that really makes any significant difference. And this is what the umbrella is facing kind of away so that the actual bulb, the light is just getting directly on me without actually, going through the umbrella. They're still just not that bright. Let me go ahead and compare them to the Elgato Key Light Airs right now. So this is all 3 LimoStudio lights around me. And this is 2 Elgato Key Light Airs that are angled at about 15 degrees. And the backlight from the LimoStudio is off as well. So yeah, the effective brightness of the Elgato Key Light Airs are way brighter than the LimoStudio lighting kit. These things can help your shot a little bit if you're already in bright daylight. Otherwise, not so much. But hey, these things do only cost about $50, so I am being quite critical of these, but they do have a pretty useful niche use that I'm going to talk about at the end of this video. Build quality. The stands themselves are good quality. You'll need to make sure that you tighten everything to avoid them becoming unbalanced or tipping, but once you're used to that, they're good. The umbrella, not too bad either. The bulbs themselves though, terrible build quality. Now, my issues with these could be due to a bunch of factors. These things do run super hot. Maybe you're not supposed to have them on. As long as I do pretty long shoots. But in my experience, and a lot of other people's experience, the capsules that hold these bulbs together break apart really easily. So what starts to happen is this thing kind of just gets a little bit loose, and it starts getting looser and looser over time. And if you try to snap it back together, it will actually crack, and then eventually, you end up with this. And I was thinking, maybe I was just mishandling them or something like that. I did have one tip over. I was like, maybe it's me. But I bought a bunch of replacement bulbs, and this one out of the 4 I got didn't work. And that's apparently quite common with a lot of other people that have got these bulbs. There's another problem I have with the replacement lights that I'll cover in a little bit. Now for convenience, these stands are pretty bulky and they took about 20 minutes to set up the first time, but the instructions are pretty clear and it gets easier over time. The adjustable height on these is also really cool. The 2 larger stands, the minimum height that they get to is 37 inches and the maximum height they get all the way up to about 87 inches. They turn on with a basic light switch, no wireless controls, no brightness adjustment, no color adjustment. It just is what it is. Now, for the most part, that's not a big deal because they're, $50 lights. But the replacement lights that you buy on LimoStudio's site, they look exactly like the bulbs that come in the original kit, but they're a little bit different color temperature. The replacement bulbs look a little bit warmer, a little bit redder than the ones that originally came with it. It's not like a radical difference, but it's enough so that it's oh, well, you can't change the color temperature. That kind of sucks. You have 2 slightly different colored lights in the shot. So if one of these bulbs break, you pretty much have to replace all the lights if you want them all to be the same color. So yeah, that sucks. Verdict. Okay, so should you buy the LimoStudio LMS103 lighting kit? Probably not. But I have found one good use for them. My current main light is an Elgato ring light. Let me show you what that looks like. It's really good, 2500 lumens, soft lighting, excellent light, but the background is still quite dim. In the daytime, this isn't a big deal because the light coming in from the window will just even out the light. But at nighttime, it doesn't really look as good as it could, especially because this isn't a DSLR where I can just blur the background. So what I do at night is I use the Elgato ring light, but I also use the two big LimoStudio lights on the side and then the third LimoStudio light in the back to brighten up the entire shot. So let me show you what it looks like. This is just the ring light by itself. And this is with the Elgato ring light, the two big LimoStudio lights, and then the smaller LimoStudio light pointed at the background. So this really brightens up the shot quite a bit. I love it. And I find it to be a really effective setup. So if you already have like a pretty decent ring light or something, like some sort of main light, then the LimoStudios are a pretty cheap option that you can use to brighten up the rest of your background and just give you an overall more even and brighter shot. I've linked my review in comparison of all the different Elgato lights that I've used. I've used the Elgato ring light, key light air. So, I've used all of them. They're a lot more expensive than the LimoStudios though. But when I do find a good budget option, maybe like $50 to $75 that I can recommend, aside from the LimoStudio lights, then I'll go ahead and make a review on it. If you're interested in streaming tech gear reviews just like this, then consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next review.